Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of Editorial. I continue to talk about Maharashtra crisis. Yesterday, Eknath Shinde claimed to have 36 MLAs from Shiv Sena. Today, he claims to have crossed the figure of 37. 37 is important because 37 means there is no anti-defection on these 37 MLAs, which means, like I told yesterday, you can't suspend them. And he claims to have 9 independent, which means totally he has crossed the figure of 46 according to him. The question we ask tonight, is this endgame for Shiv Sena? Let's get right into the show. Now, first of all, let's get some confusion out of the air. Okay, na? See, at the moment, Eknath Shinde is not claiming to own Shiv Sena. That's not what Eknath Shinde's focus is. And he can't focus on that. It is not that easy. Currently, he has 37 members, if at all what he's saying is correct. He has 37 MLAs from Shiv Sena. MLAs is the assembly. So, 37 members of the legislative assembly from Shiv Sena with him. 37 members of Maharashtra Assembly will give him enough power to ensure that he doesn't come under the anti-defection like I said yesterday. So to that extent, he still is the leader of Shiv Sena's Maharashtra Legislative Assembly. And Shiv Sena can't do anything about it. So if he decides to support Bharatiya Janata Party tomorrow, which is what he is intending to do, he is very well open to do that. Nothing will happen to him. So that's number one. But what I said in the beginning, I say that again, that does not mean that he owns Shiv Sena, that he can control Shiv Sena, that he is the new chief of Shiv Sena, and that, Uddhav Thackeray will be thrown out of Shiv Sena. All that won't happen. Because the election commission will only decide that he is the rightful president of Shiv Sena after going through the constitution of Shiv Sena. After having complete support from all stakeholders of Shiv Sena, which is not necessarily just the MLAs, or it is not even necessary, it is just the MPs, or it is not even necessary, it is just the corporators. It has to be the combination of all, including all the stakeholders, which means all the office bearers of Shiv Sena. So there is a process. So this talk about, tomorrow morning he will come and walk, वो सब नहीं होगा. So let's keep that aside. I want to spend 5 minutes with you talking about Shiv Sena. Because, when you talk about Shiv Sena, and before, a lot of people talk about Endgame and all of that, before you talk about Shiv Sena, you need to understand Shiv Sena. Because do not look at Shiv Sena from a political prism. Shiv Sena is beyond political prism. The DNA of Shiv Sena is not that of a political party. I will tell you what I mean. See, in 1966, 19th of June, when Shiv Sena was born, I remember hearing this, that, Prabodhankar Thackeray, who was Balasaheb Thackeray's father and who was a serious activist, one of the crusaders of Samyukta Maharashtra movement, which means he is one of the people who fought to ensure that Maharashtra becomes a separate state. Those days, Gujarat, Maharashtra and all were one, and Mumbai was Mumbai presidency. He was one of those crusaders. A lot of people gave their lives for the moment, and that is why we have Hutatma Chowk in Mumbai. Anyway, Prabodhankar Thackeray in Shivaji Park, Mumbai, went and said on the day when Shiv Sena was launched, he said, "Today I offer my Baal to Maharashtra. I am offering my son to the service of Maharashtra." And that is how Shiv Sena began. Balasaheb Thackeray was a cartoonist. He was a cartoonist and he was an activist. He is not just a cartoonist, he was also an activist, and he was into activism right from his childhood. So he was quite a known activist. That's how the journey of Shiv Sena started. From 1966 to the 70s, Shiv Sena was focused on Marathi Manus and the right of Marathi Manus. After 1970s, they broadened their ideology, they broadened their thought, and they became a party of Hindutva. Now, mind you, when Shiv Sena was the party for Hindutva, there was no BJP. BJP happened in 80s. I'm talking 70s. So Shiv Sena was possibly the first political party that spoke about Hindutva. Political party. RSS and others are cultural organizations. I am talking about a political party. Achha. Now, also mind you, like I said, you will ask me, you just told that it is not a political party. What I said is, Shiv Sena's genesis, DNA, is not that of a political party. The DNA of Shiv Sena is that of a social movement. They are activists. Shiv Senics were activists. You know what is the difference between a Shiv Sena and another political parties? Shiv Sena had this unique way, and I think possibly, I don't know, maybe you guys can correct me in the comment box. Shiv Sena possibly was the only party in this world that empowered the last common denominator, which means that a simple worker of Shiv Sena would wear a Shiv Sena t-shirt and feel empowered. He didn't need power. Shiv Sena started seeing power in 90s. Before that, from 70s to 90s, Shiv Sena hardly saw power. But the fact is, that person, that worker, without any political power, any MLA, MP, Rajya Sabha, that Sabha, this Sabha, nothing. That common man, that worker on the street with that Shiv Sena t-shirt and possibly a bandana felt powerful. That was Shiv Sena. You know, shakhas, branches, everybody acts. Some people call it shaka, some people call it sampark office or whatever. Every political party has. But Shiv Sena's shaka was different. Shiv Sena's shaka was very different. You know why it was different? Because that Shiv Sena shaka was the center of that society. Which means that Shiv Sena shaka, the shaka pramukh, he acted like an inspector. He sorted disputes, right, wrong, otherwise. All that is debatable. That is a different issue. But he would sort out problems. He would sort out social problems. He would sort out marital problems of people. Marital problem, fights and all that. He would sort out that. He would sort out conflicts. He would sort out disputes. He was almost, that shaka was almost like a police station. A shaka pramukh, like a police inspector. So, like I said, Shiv Senics didn't require power and all. They didn't require Vidhan Sabha and Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha and that Sabha and this Sabha and all that. They were powerful anyways because the people were with them. That's Shiv Sena. So the point I'm trying to make is Shiv Sena should not be seen as a political party. Shiv Sena should be seen as a social body. You know, when you join Shiv Sena, you tie something called a Shiv Bandhan. That's how you join Shiv Sena. So everything is about ritual. Everything is about emotional bonding. This political party is emotionally bonded. What went wrong with Shiv Sena? Like I told you yesterday, I don't want to repeat myself. What went wrong with Shiv Sena is when that emotional bonding got weakened. Shiv Sena got weakened. So that's the point. Now what happens when you talk about a party that's emotionally bonded? You know, do you know why Uddhav Thackeray is asking people to come sit in front of him and talk to him? You know why Sanjay Raut said that we are willing to discuss dropping out of MBA, but come to us, talk to us. You know why they are doing it? Because the chances are that those MLAs in front of Uddhav Thackeray may change their mind. That is Shiv Sena. This may not be logic for any other political party, but this is a probability in Shiv Sena. Probably. Hoga shayad. No, the fact remains that I don't think they are going to come back. The fact remains that I don't think they will come and meet Uddhav Thackeray and all. And the fact remains that all this may not happen. It is not likely to happen. But I am telling you, if it happens, there is a chance that some of them may change their votes, change their mind. Because that's Shiv Sena. You know that bandhan that they put? They actually swear themselves to that. That's Shiv Sena. So before we talk about game and end game and all about Shiv Sena, we need to understand that this party is like phoenix. It will resurrect from whatever state it is. It will resurrect from the ashes. Now, this is one end of the story. This is about Shiv Senic. Because a Shiv Senic needs a Thackeray. A Shivsenik needs his Shaka. The Shivsenik needs the Shiv Sena that he had pledged himself to as a child, most of them. So that's as far as Shiv Sena is concerned. So my conclusion to this part is that Shiv Sena will never go away from Maharashtra. Shiv Sena will never go away from Maharashtra. Shiv Sena will remain in Maharashtra for the next 100 years. It will continue to remain in Maharashtra. Secondly, it will be very difficult to take away Thackerays from Shiv Sena. It is not going to be easy to take away Thackerays from Shiv Sena. The effect of Thackerays would go lesser and lesser and lesser. That is possible. That is possible. But to take away Thackeray from Shiv Sena, at least now, not possible. Now, that said, let's keep that aside. Now let us focus on Thackeray. You see, what I said yesterday, I maintain it today. Uddhav Thackeray, not meeting people, bad idea. He had to pay for it by almost. Chances are that he will have to resign from his seat, or he'll be removed from Chief Minister's post. So he had to play that. Second thing is that Thackerays have to now start thinking, was it a good idea to actually come into administration? Actually become the Chief Minister, the minister, stand for election, win election. Was that a good idea? Or do people see Thackeray as somebody who does not fight for power, who does not occupy a constitutional position? Like Balasaheb Thackeray, who sits in Matoshri and he openly said, I have got a remote control, I control the Chief Minister. But he never took up the position of a Chief Minister. Thackerays need to consider this, whether the idea of jumping into the fray, jumping in for elections, trying to get elected, trying to be the Chief Minister, was it a good idea or was it a bad idea? That's point number 2. Point number 3. I think Shiv Sena has a DNA. And somewhere down the line, that DNA was being changed. That brand character was being changed by Uddhav and by Aditya. You know, a Shiv Sena talks about job for the youth. Aditya Thackeray spoke about environment. Now, environment is a very important subject. I'm not saying what he did was wrong. But Shiv Senics would prefer a Thackeray to talk about hak. Where is our rights? The rights of youth to work, the right of a youth to earn his living, the right of a youth to put up his vada pav shop in Mumbai and earn his living. That was what is expected out of Shiv Sena. The moment you see your leaders starting to talk about technology and global investment and all, you wonder, ye kya hai? You see, that's another factor that the Thackerays need to consider. That, listen, are we changing the brand character? Are Thackerays changing as what is expected out of Thackerays? Are they changing from what is expected out of them by their people? Chances are, possibly yes. Chances are, today, Eknath Shinde is more in character of a Shiv Sena leader than an Aditya Thackeray or an Uddhav Thackeray. Look at it. Look at it. So, these are factors that needs to be considered by the Thackerays. That said, so coming back to the current situation, Eknath Shinde has 2 options. Option number 1, join Bharatiya Janata Party, which is with his 40 MLAs, that is 37, 38, 39, 40 of Shiv Sena, and it has to be anything more than 37. So 37, 38, 40, whatever of Shiv Sena, and then balance independent. So say maybe 50 MLAs and go and join Bharatiya Janata Party, or remain as the legislative party and support Bharatiya Janata Party and become the deputy chief minister. So he's got 2 options. Uddhav Thackeray has got 2 options. Uddhav Thackeray has got 2 options. Either to succumb and say, "Theek hai, I couldn't, I lost, you won. Mr. Shinde, you want us to get out of Mahavikas Aghadi, here I go out of Mahavikas Aghadi. You want me to give up my chief ministership, here I give up my chief ministership. And you tell us what next to do." So Mr. Shinde becomes the deputy CM and life goes on as is, and Shiv Sena intact goes back with BJP, which I am doubtful. I am not saying it is impossible, but I am saying I am doubtful, because that will really have impact on the Thackeray. That's one. Or you put the party into a huge risk, but try and resurrect it. Fight it back. Try and resurrect it by losing your chief ministership, which is in most probably you will lose your chief ministership, but go back to the people, build Balasaheb Thackeray's Shiv Sena and come back with a vengeance. This is the option with Uddhav Thackeray. That's what I wanted to talk to you about. Let's wait and watch what's going to happen in the future. Every hour is giving us a new news. Every hour gives us a new story. So let's wait and watch what's happened. Let's wait and watch what happens. Till I see you next time. Namaskar.